Hello, hello. It's Business Partner B1 Plus, Intermediate Plus, Course Book, Lesson 2, or Unit 2, Lesson 4, Business Skills, Making a Presentation. We are going to talk a lot about how to start a presentation, how to be successful. Look at these questions here to start. Have you attended or given many presentations? Have you? Where? At school, at work, at university? Where or what kind of presentations have you given? Wow, if you already give them, how do you feel? How do you think a presenter feels before, during, and after a presentation? Like before a presentation, super nervous. During, clumsy, atrapalhado. And after, relieved. Maybe, but how do you feel? How do you think you would feel if you haven't given presentations yet? I'd really like to know, if you don't mind telling me. After that, we have this question. How would you feel about giving a presentation, but in English? Imagine you already give presentations, but now you have to give a presentation in English. How would you feel? Easy, no problem. The same as Portuguese. Would it be the same as Portuguese? Would it be? I don't know. You tell me. What advice would you give to someone giving a presentation for the first time? I'd really like to know what you would say, what kind of advice you would give to someone that would give the presentation for the first time. But after this lesson, maybe you would have more information and more things to talk to someone who is going to give a presentation for the first time. Let's go to the book and talk about making a presentation. In this lesson, learners are aware of techniques for beginning a presentation and can use a range of signposting phrases to structure a presentation and highlight main ideas. Like we are going to learn how to signpost, like to say, we have finished introduction, we are going to the next level, and then in the end of the presentation, how to do it. Look at this information here. Just a sec. Here we have these questions here. In which of these situations have you given or attended a talk or presentation? And what went well and what didn't go well? Because some presentations are horrible. And do you like presenting? How do you feel if you are the presenter? Why do you like it? Why don't you like it? Look, because we have presentations in different contexts. Like here, an informal presentation to colleagues at work or college or university. Do you remember the history teacher asked us to talk about the wars between the Persians and the Greek? Then someone drew a map and you had to talk about that, the invasions, their relationships at that time, the different cities in Greece, how they defended themselves. It was a nice time, right? But now we have a lot of technology with presenting tools and so on. Very nice. A presentation to business customers. Wow, serious, right? A conference presentation. Wow, 200 people in front of you. 2,000 people. Imagine. A speech at a wedding or other event. I like to attend wedding speeches. They're usually fun. So, have you attended? What went well? What didn't? I'd really like to know what you have to say about that. Really. But we have this blog here. Let's read the blog extract on how to begin a presentation and discuss which ideas you agree with and why. Can you add any of your own ideas to the list? Because there are many things we can think about when we talk about starting a presentation. Look, this blog. There's a guy giving a presentation, a speech, a talk. So things to do and not to do when opening a presentation. Making a presentation in a foreign language is for many people one of the most terrifying things they have to do at work. Here are some standard techniques to help you make a confident and effective start, with a few tips on what not to do too. So let's see. Can you read? Yes, I think it's okay to read, right? Begin with a warm welcome. Hello! Or something like that. Thank the audience for coming. Thanks for watching this video. I'm so happy you're here watching. State your name and job title. I'm Shink and I'm an English teacher. Confirm the objective of the presentation. We are here to talk about delivering good presentations. Explain the structure of the presentation. Well, this is the business skills lesson. We have some exercises to do with some examples. So we are going to listen to some audios and they are going to be really nice for us to practice this topic or talk about this topic. Say how long you will talk for. This video will take some 40 minutes to 1 hour, something like that. And let the audience know when to ask questions. At the live lesson, in the comments of the video, during or at the end of the presentation. Well, you can send me a message while you're watching, but maybe I'm not going to see when or right away. But you can write a comment here at YouTube or talk to me during the live lesson. These are some options. Move smoothly to the first point in the presentation. Smoothly. Suavemente, right? It's very good if we can go smoothly from one topic to the other. It is more comfortable for the audience. But please don't do this. Don't apologize for your English. Be confident and focus on expressing your ideas. Hey, look, I know I'm Brazilian, so my English has an accent. Maybe you won't like it. Please don't pay attention to my accent. I wish I could speak better. Come on. They aren't here to judge your English. They're here to listen to your ideas. Pay attention to that. Don't apologize. Probably they don't speak your language as well as you speak English. Don't worry about making mistakes. A gente erramos em português. Esse foi erro de propósito, né? Você sabe. People want to listen to your ideas, not your grammar. I believe that they commit mistakes in English, so don't worry about it. Don't rush things. take your time and give your audience time to understand the information. So maybe instead of putting too many topics and rushing into the information throughout the topics, you should put a comfortable number of topics in order to be able to go and go from one topic to the other. All right, that's much better than rushing. It's very good. Just a sec. So these are the do's and don'ts. Why don't you tell me what things you agree with and what things you don't agree with? I'd really like to listen from you. But more than that, what have you already done? What are your ideas on other topics that we could do in order to be able to deliver a very nice presentation? That's excellent, because now we are going to move on to exercise 2. And in exercise 2, we are going to listen to 3 speakers. And these 3 speakers are going to start a presentation to visitors to their organization. Which do's and don'ts in exercise 1B does each speaker use? So they're going to do good work, but they're going to commit some mistakes too. So the idea of this exercise is for us to listen and be able to recognize these qualities. Okay, what things they do and they shouldn't do in the video, in the audio. All right, pay attention. Let me play. Look, listen to 3 speakers starting a presentation to visitors to their organization. Which do's and don'ts? We have here, oops, we have it here, right? But if you want the information, you can print this. Look, take a picture if you want, take a picture. If you want, you can take a picture of all the do's and don'ts, and while you listen, you pay attention to that.
Unit 2, Recording 1. Speaker 1.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Hawkins, and what I want to do today is give you a short introduction to the company. I won't take more than 10 minutes because we have a lot to get through today, but if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt.
Speaker 2.
I would like to start by offering a very warm welcome to everyone here today. Thank you very much for coming. I know many of you have travelled a long way to be here. As you know, I'm Pam Ellis, Managing Director here. What I want to do today is give you an introduction to the company. Firstly, a little information on operations. Secondly, more about the people. And finally, the culture we have here. But to begin, I want to look at operations.
Speaker 3.
Good morning. I'm Paolo Orlandi, Managing Director of Production here. Sorry for my poor English, but I must, before we take a tour of the factory, give you an introduction to health and safety, so that everyone is safe here. Please, do ask questions if there is anything you don't understand. I know some things I say may not be so clear, but it's important everyone understands what to do and what not to do in the production area. So please ask me questions. Any questions, anytime, if anything is not clear. I'd like to start with some rules on where you can walk and where not to walk. As you can see, this ramp over here.
Well, we listened to 3 people. How did you feel about their start, their beginnings? Do you think they did things correctly? What do you think? I liked this exercise very well. Well, I'm not going to say much, but for example, the first speaker began with a warm welcome, right? You have to agree with me. And speaker 2, I liked the way she speaks. I liked her style very, very much. She stated her name and job title. Did you notice that? But she did 5 things. The first speaker also did 5 things. And the third speaker did 6 things. But I remember that the first one did something that I wouldn't like. I wouldn't suggest. You tell me what thing it was. Now, look at the 3 more unusual ways to start a presentation. What do you think is the value of using these techniques? Because here we have some do's, and here we have others. Look, open with questions. Have you ever been to a wedding? Have you ever given a presentation? I started with questions. How did you feel? Did you feel okay? It was nice to start with questions. 2, begin by telling the audience about a conversation you had recently. You know, I was talking to João the other day, and he said that, and then I'm talking about this today with you. This is another way to start, because maybe everybody knows João. You see, depending on the people there. Or start with a personal story. Another day, I was there, and it could be the introduction for the topic we are going to talk about. Right? Well, listen to 3 more presentation openings and decide which unusual technique in exercise 2B each speaker uses. It's nice. I like this exercise. So you tell me if you recognize what they say. I think I have to come here, and then this is part B and part C. So speaker 1 is going to use open with questions, begin by telling the audience about a conversation you had recently, or start with a personal story. Pay attention, okay?
Unit 2, Recording 2. Speaker 1.
So before I begin and tell you why I'm here, I would like to start with why you are here. And how can I know that? Well, I asked a couple of you during coffee this morning. Jackie over there, yes, she wants to learn about which countries we are active in. She wants to work abroad one day. Good, I'll talk about that. Peter, he's a finance guy and wants to know more on the numbers. Are we profitable? Important question, Peter. And I'll talk about finance too. And Samir, the interest there is how to become a leader as quickly as possible. And I will talk about that too, what kind of organization we are and what kind of people do well here.
Speaker 2.
To begin, before I say anything, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Find out what you know about this organisation. Who knows how many people work here? OK, put your hand up if you know the answer to these questions. Which countries are we active in? OK. What are our main products? So, not so many of you. That's fine. That's why I'm here. My name's Pam Ellis, and I want to tell you a little bit about our company.
Easy,
Speaker
right?
3.
Now, to start, I'd like to share a story with you about a young man around 20 years ago who was sitting right where you are standing, new to the company, a little nervous on the first day, not knowing what to expect. Well, that was, as you can probably guess, me all those years ago. On that day, I listened, and I continued to listen and learn, and now I'm managing director. So, welcome.
Well, I'm not going to give you the answers. I believe that during the live lesson you can tell me. Maybe we can listen again to these openings because this is good practice. But the idea is for you to be prepared to tell me what are the 3 techniques, unusual techniques. Well, I think that they're not that unusual, to be honest. I really liked them. And then we had Part D. Look, how effective do you think these alternative techniques were and why? Would you be comfortable using them? Why or why not? Do you think that opening with questions is effective? Do you think that beginning by telling the audience about a conversation you had recently is positive for them to pay attention? And to start with a personal story. Oh, nobody's interested in my silly stories. Oh, maybe some people could identify themselves with my stories. What do you think? But then, now, listen to the first speaker here. Let me bring it here. The first speaker will continue. And he's going to continue his presentation and he's going to introduce his company. Note down the information he gives about the following. When the company was established, what's the main strength of the company, the size of the workforce, how many people work there, and also countries of operation, and finally plan for growth, because they want to grow, right? So note down the information he gives about these aspects here. Let me play.
Unit 2. Recording 3.
So let's begin with the most important part of the company, and that's its people. And there are 3 important points I want to make here. Firstly, we're a very young company. It was set up only 3 years ago, and the average age is only 29. This means we're fresh and energetic, and we really like innovation, which is our main strength. Secondly, we're a small company with only 56 people at the moment. This is also important because we want to stay personal. People know each other here. We have a family atmosphere, which our customers also feel and love about us. And finally, and as I said earlier during lunch to some of you, we are very international. In fact, we now have 20 different nationalities in the company, working in 5 countries. For me, on a personal note and speaking very openly, this is important, as I believe very much in being international and the value of working across different cultures. So if you can take a look at this slide, you will see the nationalities in the company. I hope I haven't missed anyone. Truly international. Great. Yes, a question.
Is the company growing, getting more international?
Great question. Really good question. In a number of ways. Yes, we are growing, probably to around 65 people this year, but I don't want to grow much more or we become too big, too much a large corporation. So yes, but no. We are small, we want to be small, and we plan to stay small, but I'll say more about that a little later. Are there any other questions now on that? So I'll close there. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll hand over to Paul to tell you something about products and services.
Well, we had here 2 minutes in which he talked about when the company was established, the main strengths of the company, the size of it, number of countries, and their plan for growth. So I believe that you could understand everything. His way of speaking was really nice, but maybe you would like to listen again. What do you have in part B? Because I'm not going to give you the answers. Come on. Could you get, look, how did the speaker react to the questions? Was he positive about the questions? Did he give positive feedback to the person who asked the questions? Did he answer well? Did he show respect for the audience member who asked questions? Did he encourage others to ask more questions? Do you think this is a good way to react to questions, the way he did? Why or why not? What do you remember? If you don't remember anything, maybe we can talk a little further about this during the live lesson. All right, we can listen and talk more about that. If you want, you can go back, play again the video, and pay attention to that. I think that it's very positive because it is important to interact with the audience. If you're there giving a presentation, a speech, a talk, you want to bring information, to be like relevant, right? And talking to people is really good when it comes to it. Like now, functional language. Do you remember I told you that we would talk about signposting sentences? They are sentences to show that you are going from one part of the presentation to another. And we have these sentences here. Look, we have halves and we have to match them. For example, good morning. How do we finish this sentence here? For example, good morning for coming. Huh? Isn't it? Thanks for coming. Thank you for coming. Good morning for coming. But let's read the endings, and then it's going to be much easier to complete the sentences. Into 3 parts, with finance as part 3. Do you remember? We were suggested in the do's to give the structure of the presentation in the beginning, with a quick review of the project status. I believe that they're going to start with that. Everyone, and good to see you here. About 10 minutes per section. It's again about the structure, right? Jan Sanders and I work in finance. Right? Any questions? Just interrupt me. Some presentations reserve some time in the end for questions. Here, the person said that we can interrupt him or she or her. Update you on the Zeros project for coming. So let's do it. Good morning, everyone, and good to see you here. It's letter C, right? Thanks very much for coming. Oops. Thanks very much for staying in the correct place here. I'm Jen Sanders and I work in finance. It isn't Jen Sanders and I work in finance. We work in finance. No, I'm Jan Sanders and I work in finance. Letter E, right? Today I want to update you on the Zeros project. I've decided the presentation Oh, please, obviously, you can pause and try to find yourself the answer, okay? You can do the exercise, but as I don't know why they didn't give us all this space, I have to do this. So when I read the sentence, I've decided the presentation, you can pause and try to find yourself and check when I give the answer. Like, I decided to divide into 3 parts with finance as part 3. I'll need, pause, try to do, I'll need about 10 minutes per section. So coffee break will be in 30 minutes. If you have, easy, right? Any questions, just interrupt me. And much easier. Okay, let me begin with a quick review of the project status, if you prefer. Oops, oh no. Let's check. Wow, we are very good, right? And then let's see. The idea of the second part is very nice, and it's better to do during the live lesson. What is it about? Practice making different introductions to presentations. Use your own ideas of the ideas below, or the ideas below, like this is your name, your job title, the objective of the presentation, the time of talk, the questions link to begin. So time to talk, you were talking about the structure. So, right, basically, hello, my name is Bob Jones and I'm the head of human resources. The objective of this presentation is to update on our human resources project, the changes for the better of everybody. It will be a very short presentation that will take only around 20 minutes. If you have any questions, you can interrupt, and I hope I can answer every question. Let's begin with finance. The company has been through some changes, and there's this necessity of changing the human resources department. You see? So easy. You can work on this one or on this one, or you can talk about your own ideas, about your job, the changes that you are going through, and so on. But let's try to use the do's in this exercise. What else do we have? Eita, what's going on here? Sorry. Here we have functional language again, and we also have Carvão again. Please, Carvão. We are revisiting signposting in presentations. We should complete these phrases here from the presentations in exercise 2 and 3 using the words in the box. If necessary, we can go and check in the audio scripts. By the way, we have the audio scripts on pages 146 and 147. Everything that they speak are in the end of the book, so you can check that. Easy, waiting for you. Beginning a presentation, sequencing, highlighting important information, referring to visuals, referring to different sections of the presentation, inviting questions, dealing with questions, and closing the presentation. You see, signposting is not not only does show what parts of the presentation we are going through, but also show what we are, other things, other functions during the presentation. That's really nice. So we can begin the presentation like this. To start, I'd like to share a story with you. You see, that's a way to start. And here, what I want to do today is to give you a short introduction to the company. Try to complete number 2, and then you press play again. Let's begin with the most important part of the company, my department. The canteen. Sequencing. Firstly, secondly, and finally, highlighting important information. Well, do you remember when our teachers stopped the lesson and said, "Isso aqui cai na prova"? That was highlighting important information. Isso aqui cai no vestibular. Oh, let me take note. You know, you would use those markers to circle that part of the book and you would study it later. There are 3 important points I want to make here. This is also important because we want to stay personal. Referring to visuals. So, if you can, what's your option? A look at this slide. If you can take a look at this slide, referring to different sections of the presentation. Okay, so goes with the structure again. Which one is number 5 for you? As I said earlier, I'll say more about that later. Do you remember? One of the speakers said that. I remember that. Inviting questions. If you have any questions, free to interrupt. Feel free to interrupt. Ask me or ask me at the end. Feel free to ask me at the end. Dealing with questions. Great question. Really good question. Right? Closing. So I'll close there. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll hand over to Paul. So Paul, the president of the event, is going to continue or something like that. So you see, we have these ideas here. Well, it's very hard to memorize everything, but these are ideas. We should use these. And these are examples of sentences that we can use. They aren't tight sentences that you have to use these ones. No, these are principles we have to use during our presentations, okay? Teacher resources. Let's see this extra activity here. What is this about? Let's work here and choose an alternative opening technique below. Ask a question, use a motivation story, report a conversation to confirm that the presentation objectives are those of audience. Nice, right? Choose an alternative opening technique below. Use this technique to create a different 1-minute opening for one of the presentations you listened to. Right? I'm going to open the audio script. Oops. But I have to play first. So, did you understand? Instead of what they're going to say, we should create together during the live lesson. So you listen now, but we are going to work together during the live lesson. We are going to start with one of these here. Pay attention, please.
Unit 2, Recording 1. Speaker 1.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Hawkins, and what I want to do today is give you a short introduction to the company. I won't take more than 10 minutes because we have a lot to get through today. But if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt.
Speaker 2.
I would like to start by offering a very warm welcome to everyone here today. Thank you very much for coming. I know many of you have travelled a long way to be here. As you know, I'm Pam Ellis, Managing Director here. What I want to do today is give you an introduction to the company. Firstly, a little information on operations. Secondly, more about the people. And finally, the culture we have here. But to begin, I want to look at operations.
Speaker 3.
Good morning. I'm Paolo Orlandi, Managing Director of Production here. Sorry for my poor English, but I must, before we take a tour of the factory, give you an introduction to health and safety, so that everyone is safe here. Please, do ask questions if there is anything you don't understand. I know some things I say may not be so clear, but it's important everyone understands what to do and what not to do in the production area. So please ask me questions. Any questions, anytime, if anything is not clear. I'd like to start with some rules on where you can walk and where not to walk. As you can see, this ramp over here.
Well, I didn't pause, but the idea is for us to change the beginnings, right? And then we are going to create other starts for these presentations. But after that, we should practice the 1-minute alternative technique with our partner. Wow, imagine you are going to give a 1-minute presentation. Wow, that's nice. Very nice. I liked that. So we are going to use these structures, these ideas to start instead of the ones they used. So let's pay attention to the to the presentations, to the beginnings, and it will be our turn to give a presentation. But we haven't finished yet. We are going to get prepared and give a presentation. Wow, it's going to be probably homework. You are going to record these after the lesson, but we are going to work together to start the preparation of these short presentation. We have these topics here. Look, on the topics in the box, write a plan using the notes below and the phrases in exercise 4. Do you remember these phrases here? If possible. You can talk about your job, your company, a product you love, a place you visited, a hobby, or another thing. Wow, too many ideas, too many options. It's only one thing that we are going to work with. So you try to decide on something that you would really like to talk about. Decide which technique to use at the beginning. Yes, we had questions, personal story, and other ideas. Structure the presentation clearly into 2 or 3 sections, remembering that it's a short presentation. Link the sections as you speak. Highlight important information in each section. And invite questions at the end. wow, this is an excellent opportunity for us to create a short presentation. Really good. We are going to work together to create the structure of the presentation, and after that we are going to listen to each other presentations. Look how positive we should be when listening to others speaking. You're going to see that it isn't that easy to prepare a presentation, so let's be polite and positive to others when they deliver a presentation to us. She got prepared, look, they're enjoying, but it's hard work. So let's see, look, 3 things which the presenter does well. Okay, so let's give feedback, but let's try to find 3 positive things. And maybe we could find 1 thing which the presenter might do better next time. Please, it isn't about a list of bad things about the presenter. No, it's a list of good things. Only by doing the exercise we are happy, because the person tried to do something. That's very positive. And then after that, we have here 1 thing that we could offer to the person for the improvement of their speaking, the presenting techniques, right? Let's share the feedback, decide on the most effective presentation. What do you find most problematic when making a presentation? So after giving or delivering the presentation or preparing, what's hard? How could you deal with this problem? After doing that, we'll be able to speak by experience. It will be very nice, this lesson, really practical. Business skills, making presentations, making a presentation. And I really want to work with you, and I see you in the live lesson. All right? See you then. Bye-bye.